Next. Next.
Platform 1 for the next service to London Waterloo.
Oh, let me help you with your...
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Fudge. Homemade. Keep the paper. I've chosen a horse. Sweet tooth, I see. Are you going up to London to study?
No. My studying days are long gone. Luca Bianco Fitzwilliam. Soon to be of Whitehall.
Lavinia Pinkerton, pleased to meet you. You're Nigerian. I guessed. Papa was stationed there. Though why anyone would leave such beauty for these dreary shores, I do not know. Won't you miss home? Won't home miss you?
I think I'm here to make home proud. Sir William Ossington of the Colonial Office. I was his attaché. He always said I was wasting regional government. So, when he was recalled, he asked for me to work for him at Whitehall.
Whitehall, you say? Perhaps you might happen to know what time Scotland Yard closes. It's vital I don't miss them. You see, I must get back to Algernon, but I have to report. Murder.
Murder?
Murder. Tommy Pierce, pushed. I found him on the parapet. Harry Carter, the publican down in the next village, Ashbottom, drowned.
2 murders?
Perhaps 3, if my suspicions are correct. But I do know for certain there'll be more. The murderer has a point to make and will keep killing until it's made. I must stop them.
But if you know the murderer's identity, why not tell the police?
I tried. The village policeman is fine with lost cats, but listen to an old auntie talking mass murder, especially when the suspect is a respectable person. No, not many people do, you know. Listen. Scotland Yard is my last hope.
But... Auntie, how can someone murder 3 people in an English village without it being noticed?
I noticed, my dear. And murder is easy for a certain type of person. Well, we mustn't miss the race. Have you picked a winner? I love the Derby, don't you?
Oh.
It's absurd to think a grown woman can't place a bet without opprobrium in this day and age. Papa and I did Port Harcourt races every week. He could always spot a winner, as indeed can I believe.
I've set my bags ahead. Can I accompany you to Scotland Yard?
No need. Whatever happens now, someone else knows the truth. Someone I can trust, can't I?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Last bets, last bets.
Oh, hurry.
Last bets, everybody.
40 to 1 on Jujube too.
40 to 1, aren't you? Are you quite sure?
Perfectly.
20 guineas on Jujube too.
And they're lining up now.
And,
Lining up.
for this, will never say die.
1954 Epsom Derby. Calamity Place is...
On second thought, Jujube too.
They're coming up rather
Jujube
quickly
too.
at the line. It could be a go first time. Starter's giving the nod. He looks happy. And they're off. First time to a very good start. Extremely good start. Moonlight Express coming on the stand side. Then comes Arabian Phoenix and Never Say Die. Dark Corsair is very well placed. And it's Never Say Die. It's Dark Corsair. Arabian Phoenix falling back. And here comes Jujube 2. Jujube 2 coming on the wide outside to meet them all. 50 yards to go. Jujube 2 is going to win it.
Yeah, mate, take your winnings.
Officer, I know this woman. I have her money here. See? Her name is Luke Obiako Fitzwilliam. That's O.B. My mistake. Never mind.
Officer, I saw a car.
A respectable old woman, Jimmy. Talking 1 minute, dead the next. While I stood there with her derby winnings in my hand.
Maybe I should find her village, pay my respects to her family as the last person to see her.
Very admirable, Cousin Bods. How? And what about Whitehall? And your old employer?
Sir William Ossington.
Ossington. That colonial butcher. Behold, the imperial African, self-colonized, collaborating with his oppressors. Hey, no wonder you sound like an Englishman.
He offered me a job.
As what? His Man Friday. I do hope you can type. How is your filing?
As attaché here in London. It's a senior diplomatic post. There'll be no typing.
Nkosi.
But that poor woman.
Obi, please, I beg. Stop talking about this auntie.
She was talking of murder. Murders in her village. She said he'd kill again, and now she's dead. Doesn't that seem... Someone should go there and...
Let me get this straight. Oh, great black savior. You roll up to some deep bush place full of homicide.
And start asking questions about murder. Do you want to be arrested?
Shouldn't someone at least return her money?
Shouldn't someone be in his own village, helping his own people gain independence back home?
When were you last home? Miss Ngozi? You've been in England studying for years. Or perhaps you become fond of the climate.
Ngozi, the hook only catches the fish with his mouth open.
Or perhaps we both owe it to our people to do what's right and make them proud, whether that's back home in the village or somewhere in England.
No. No. You're not going to any village. You're going to bed. And tomorrow, Whitehall.
No, that's fine. Thanks for letting me know.
What did they say?
Sir William is away. Nothing to worry about. I have to wait for his letter before reporting for duties. Just a couple of days.
Miss? Miss, can you point me to the family of a Miss Pinkett?
Hurry, or we'll miss the verdict.
Lacking witnesses to the demise of Harry Carter, publican of the Seven Stars Ash Bottom, I am dispensing a verdict of death by drowning at Witchwood Watermill whilst under the influence of strong liquor. For the avoidance of doubt, an accident. Next case, Tommy Pierce, window cleaner of Ash Bottom.
Major Horton to the stand.
Well, he was larking around on the balcony balustrade at Ash Manor, East Wing, doing impressions.
Impressions of whom?
Well, Lord Whitfield, I believe. Well, I shook my fist and carried on walking with my dogs. Didn't see him fall.
Calling Dr. Thomas to the stand.
The impact of said fall resulted in a complete bisection of C3 and C4. He broke his neck.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Calling Ms. Wainfleet to the stand. So Tommy Pierce had been employed to clean the windows at Ash Manor. Where were you at this time?
I was working downstairs, labelling Lord Whitfield's Anglo-Saxon goblets. I heard his impressions, but I didn't see him fall.
So who found the body?
Lavinia Pinkerton to the stand.
Oh dear old Pinkerton. She's probably looking after Algernon.
Not present. In which case...
Outlast.
With no more witnesses, given we have heard ample evidence of the deceased Thomas Pierce's history of delinquent and foolhardy behavior, I confidently bring this inquest to a close with a verdict of accidental death.
So you're a journalist. That explains it. Oh, a rather bad journalist.
Me? No. I thought you might have been.
Just your averagely observant secretary. I live in Witchwood, so there's precious little to challenge my powers of observation. Until you arrived.
Fitzwilliam. No. Luke Fitzwilliam.
And what brings you to Witchwood? Fitzwilliam. Our sparkling society?
Actually,
Because we haven't any. Fresh air and exercise? Convalescence. Are you an invalid, Mr. Fitzwilliam?
I find myself in excellent health.
I'm pleased to hear it. Though I hope you have a reason to be here in Witchwood. Otherwise, I am obliged to inform the authorities.
What if I'm on a secret mission?
Blink twice if you're a spy.
Cultural anthropologist.
Bless you.
Thank you. No, me. I am a cultural anthropologist. Researching a book. Comparing customs and folklore in rural England and Nigeria. I'll be in Witchwood a while. Comparing the local customs and folklore.
Well, satanic rituals are every third Tuesday of the month.
Very amusing. A pleasure to have met you, Miss...
Conway. Bridget Conway.
Innkeeper's out.
Thank you.
The murderer has a point to make. I must stop them.
think you'll find you're in the wrong place, sir. His lordship and the other guests will be inside the house.
Lord Whitfield. I received your very generous invitation, and I just wanted to...
Mr. Fitzwilliam. We have never had a cultural anthropologist for supper, so we thought we'd have you for starters. Mr. Fitzwilliam, Lord Whitfield.
My Bridget tells me you are writing a book on superstitions.
Yes. Yes. Similarities between cultures, the remarkable universality.
See, I've never approved of superstitions. Have I, Bridget? Have nothing to do with foolish and irreverent myths, rather train yourself for godliness, Timothy 4:7.
So what sort of man are you, Mr. Fitzwilliam? Old-fashioned? Dark and stormy? A highball chap, I'd say. I'll mix you one. You recall Dr. Thomas from the inquest? Reverend and Mrs. Humbleby, and their daughter Rose.
Delighted to meet you, young man.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Yeah, some say the books are the keys to the castle. And look where they have got you. From your mud hut to all this.
Thanks.
Dinner is served.
My love.
Thank you.
Bridget used to be his secretary. Now they're engaged.
So romantic.
Come, Rose.
I'm comparing everyday pagan practices in a typical English village to those in Nigeria.
You hear that? Pagan practices. In Witchwood, Reverend Humbleby.
This isn't the Middle Ages, my lord. The church is increasingly forward-thinking.
So, Fitzwilliam, do you make a decent living book writing?
Never had to find out.
Oh, how's that?
My father's village is very fortunate. 2,000 square miles of arable land and,
mud huts. Oh. And oil.
You'll be running yourselves before you know it.
Well, Fitzwilliam, I'm in cement, which holds the modern world together. And my father was the village cobbler, but I just pulled myself up by
sport of wartime profiteering.
my bootstraps. Righteous hard work and the grace of God.
The chapter I'm working on now, well, it concerns popular beliefs around violent death, falls, or accidents. Many cultures believe when a life is cut short, its spirit lives on, restlessly walking the earth.
Goodness, how terrifying.
Quite right. No one wants the likes of Harry Carter restlessly walking around.
Mr. Carter was rather a terror.
That drunk violently accosted me on my own estate, didn't he, Bridget? And as for Tommy Pierce, oh, impertinent devil.
The voice of an angel.
In my medical opinion, the lad was unbalanced in more ways than one.
You didn't mention that interesting detail at the inquest, Dr. Thomas.
Sad. Any deaths recently?
Yes, And now, Miss Pinkerton.
What? Dead? How?
Struck down yesterday in London.
What? I should have been notified of any accident. It's protocol.
Dead? Are you absolutely certain?
Yes, Mr. Fitzwilliam, how could you possibly know this?
Woman struck down by car.
It was in the Standard, late edition. They don't deliver it here.
Poor dear Lavinia. Another tragic accident. Such a shame.
Can't be possible.
Goodness.
I'm sorry, I still don't quite understand. What was it that drew your attention to the death of a perfect stranger?
Happened to notice her dress. Witchwood. Such a coincidence.
Such. How did they identify her?
Her name was engraved on her umbrella, I believe. Miss Pinkerton left no relatives.
Only Algernon Jones. Her cat?
Poor old Pinkerton. Not living to see my Whitfield, Newtown.
None of us shall, Providence willing.
Gentlemen, no business talk now.
If I'd had my way, Whitfield Newtown would be fully erected by now. It's a cement beacon lighting our way to a brighter future. If some people weren't dead set against me.
A brighter future for whom? Certainly not the people of Ash Bottom. You sit here in your mansion drawing up your elaborate plans instead of building some decent, affordable homes.
This is a new town, carrying my name.
No one gives a fig for your name.
Steady on, Vicar, old chap.
And you, Doctor, what exactly do you do on the board, apart from toady to his lordship's pipe dream? I said at the last board meeting, and as your priest, it's pure vanity. It won't do. It won't.
Arthur, what's wrong?
Stand aside, man. He's just fainted.
We'll get him home safely. Goodbye.
Well, hope all's well for Saturday. We need the Humblebees for the mixed doubles.
You too, Fitzwilliam.
Too much of your excellent port, my lord. Nothing a strong coffee and an aspirin won't fix.
Thank you. Miss Conway. Good night.
Constable Reed, anyone help! It's my maid, Amy. She's in her room. Something dreadful. The door's locked from the inside.
It's the first door on the left.
Amy, stay with me. Amy, stay with me.
I'm sorry.
I was just too late.
Couldn't have saved her anyway. Oxalic acid. Red hat paint. Her internal organs must be liquefied.
Poisoned? You think someone might have...
Forced her to drink hat paint. I gave her some cough linctus yesterday. She must have mixed up the bottles. A very silly girl had a very silly accident.
What a frightful morning. Poor Amy.
You knew her?
An orphan. The Carters took her in. Sent into service at 15. But she was too free-spirited for the work. What a tragic life. Witchwood can be welcoming. But it rather depends.
Depends on what?
Where you came from?
I hope the vicar is recovered.
An infection. Dr. Thomas has given him penicillin. Take care, Mr. Fitzwilliam. Constable.
This village really is.
A deep bush place full of homicide.
Exactly.
Were there any relatives there?
No, there's no relatives to return the money to. A girl just died, right in front of me. And everyone's insisting it's an accident. Please do forward the letter from Whitehall when it arrives in Ngozi. But now, I must go find out how to drown a man.
That's quite a pickle you've got yourself into. Now that I've saved your life, perhaps this might be the time to ask you, Mr. Fitzwilliam, what it is you are doing here.
Me? Nothing. I could ask you the same question.
Well, I'm here because I am always here. Lived here all my life. Whereas you, are you one of those men who never know when to leave well enough alone?
You clever women are the cruelest.
Well, there is precious little reward for our cleverness. So we must get our small pleasures where we can. So, spanking new tweeds, turning up at a stranger's inquest, spurious book on folklore about which you know virtually nothing. The only area in which you seem to show any expertise is Miss Pinkerton's death. A subject on which you are so well informed, I can only conclude that you killed Miss Pinkerton.
I know she was killed. Deliberately. And even if Carter wasn't
He
poisoned...
drank. Belle drowned. accident.
All right. What about Amy Gibbs and her red hat paint?
Amy Gibbs and her what?
Amy Gibbs and her... Red hat paint. Amy Gibbs mistook her cufflinkers for oxalic acid.
She most certainly did not.
You accuse me of killing old women, but draw the line at hat paint.
Only a man wouldn't. And that is because no one has used hat paint since the war, and if Amy Gibbs wanted a different colour hat, she'd buy a new one, and it would never be red.
Why not?
Amy Gibbs had flaming red hair, and redheads don't wear red hats.
You're right. See, I never would have occurred to a man.
Right. I'm going to pay Miss Wainfleet a visit. Get an explanation for this cufflinked hat paint nonsense. You coming?
I was concerned for you after this morning's tragic events.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzwilliam.
I thought she might help you with your research. Miss Wainfleet is quite the history buff.
Amateur curiosity. I curate Lord Whitfield's private collection and library. Sugar?
Yes, 4, please. I've no wish to upset you further, Miss Wainfleet. Could I search Amy's room? I may have lost my watch this morning.
Her door was locked.
Strange girl. Insisted on shutting herself in at night. Oh, poor Algernon Jones. He has a nasty ear infection. But he was Lavinia's, so I can't let him go to strangers.
Ah, Algernon.
Oh, look, there's your watch.
Ah, thanks.
Well spotted, Miss Wainfleet.
Had Amy been with you long?
No. It's unchristian to speak ill of the dead. But Amy was a far from ideal maid. Lord Whitfield dismissed her because her tongue tended to run away with her, I'm afraid.
Still, I doubt she died of insolence.
Yes.
Dr. Thomas said Amy mixed up her bottles, but there's only the one here.
Even in the dark, Amy couldn't mix up one bottle. If there is a murderer, why did Miss Pinkerton give you a name?
Julie said the killer was a respectable man with a point to make. We know that he was in London when Miss Pinkerton was killed.
What about the car that killed her?
Sped away.
The police at the scene were rather... I was unable to identify the driver.
So? Who was asked the village on Derby Day?
Justice, come here, sir. Nelly. Nelly, don't be a madam.
Hello, Major.
Was that gentleman perfectly well?
Major Horton, he has been a tad peculiar since his wife died last year. Though she left him all her money and was, quite frankly, a bit of a gorgon. Even the dogs have had a spring in their step since she died.
Now, Miss Pinkerton did mention a third victim. How did Mrs. Horton die?
A horrid gastric bug, so they say. What if there is a murderer walking among us? And what if he finds out you aren't who you say you are, and you know what you know? And then he comes for you, and...
There's something I'd like to show you. Miss Conway, can I escort you home?
If you like, Luke Fitzwilliam.
Obiako. Luke Obiako Fitzwilliam. sorry to have to ask, but where was Lord Whitfield on Derby Day?
Don't you worry about Gordon. He has the perfect alibi. Me.
The parapet. Miss Pinkerton said she found Tommy's body. Here. Tommy's body couldn't fall from here and land there without considerable velocity. In other words...
Tommy was pushed. It wasn't an accident. None of them were.
No. It was murder. We need to find a link. A connection between the victims.
Well, none of them were saints.
They had enemies.
Perhaps. Though I wouldn't honestly know, because they... All three are from Ashbottom. Down by the brickworks. Sort of the other side of the tracks.
Then I need to go there. Find out what point this killer's trying to make. And who was out of the village on Derby Day.
Could I see a menu? Then a pint of your finest and some pork, scratchings. My condolences for Amy Gibbs.
What's that about my niece? I'll thank you not to come here and stir up feelings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what is this diabolical stuff?
Nelly, come here, madam. Augustus, I say.
It's Horton.
It's my moral duty to name this pub after me, isn't it, Bridget?
Lord Whitfield?
Yes, our capitalist-running dog lord of the manor. I hear it all driving. His schemes and plans. Do you know what I don't hear? Any work in Ashbottom. He'll have his shiny new town, and we'll have sweet FA, like always.
Well, Lord Whitfield's a respectable man. Surely he'll...
Respectable? No more respectable than anyone else from Ashbottom. Yeah, he's one of us. Well, he used to be. Born and raised on this street. He paid for his peerage for his wartime profiteering. A few backhanders in the right people's pockets. He climbed the greasy pole to respectability and pulled the ladder up behind him quicker than he could yell, "Bridget!" Karen, your turn.
Yes, let's hear it.
I can do Dr. Thomas.
No, not him. Nothing funny about Dr. Thomas. He's only got time for his private patients. Nothing but linctus for us.
Linctus? What kind of linctus?
Cheat codeine. It's the only medicine we ever get from him.
Even children?
He put Tommy on it. Lad was leaning like the Tower of Pisa.
Just another brown bottle for Harry to drown his woes in, until he drank enough to knock himself out.
Amy was coughing like a consumptive before he saw her. What did he give her?
Codeine linctus. Bet they won't look into Amy's death any more than they did Tommy's.
Welcome to Witchwood.
Keep taking the penicillin. It'll mop up the last of the infection in your hand.
Dr. Thomas! I wonder if you might check me over. Reverend Hubbleby? Not still unwell, I hope.
Don't let that one fleece you. He charges extra for the good stuff.
Father,
What?
Dr. Thomas is only...
All that flattering and fawning doesn't fool me, greasing his wheels. There's nothing that young man won't do to get what he wants.
I was hoping to be in shape for tennis up at the manor. An old rugby injury. Playing up. Probably the weather.
Okay. Well, walk to the window and back. How's the book going? Did I mention I'm writing a book myself?
Oh, really? On what topic?
Leg seems fine. Yes, a scientific guide to improving society.
Fascinating. How?
Judicious elimination.
Of whom?
Oh, you know the sort. People like Carter. The wife beating drunk? No loss there. Didn't Tommy's death save us all from his inevitable future life of crime? Interesting thought, no?
I'm not sure your patients would agree.
How would they know? It's one thing you Africans have right. The power of life and death lies solely in the hands of Chief Bongo Bongo.
It's not that simple. We have laws.
Laws, of course, but now you take me for a mass murderer.
Would a murderer be so frank?
I'm merely making a scientific point.
A point? Yesterday, you said Amy mixed up her bottles.
Unpleasant accident.
Miss Wainfleet only found the one.
I kept the other for testing. You see? There's always a scientific explanation.
Some would call that tampering with evidence, Dr. Thomas.
I'm a doctor. Criminology is my hobby. I always follow protocol.
Protocol?
Which wasn't followed after Miss Pinkerton's death.
Where were you on Derby Day?
3 villages away attending a birth. Here we are. Kreutzhammer's Inferiority in Crime, translated from the German. And race hygiene. Scientific program would weed out the degenerates.
You keep these in stock? Aren't they on prescription?
Just a codeine linctus. Cures most common ills one step up from a placebo, really. Why, want some?
Kedu. You speak Igbo
And Efik. Some Ijaw. I've been trying to ascertain your precise tribe since the inquest before extending a proper greeting. Glad I backed the right horse. Let's go to a proper pub.
Cannot believe you brought the rugby pitch I played upon.
With these very hands, my son. Your headmaster was a very dear friend.
He was a huge influence upon me.
Yes, I can hear that.
Did you know Miss Pinkerton, sir?
Pinky, of course. We used to pore over the Raising Post together every week. Loved the GGs, did Pinky.
How was the derby?
Ah, Jujubee too. Winged feet. I said to the vicar, back the nag. We were there, Humblebee and I. Okay, raise your glass. Here's to my dear wife.
The loss must have affected you deeply.
Well, she was getting so much better. And sudden relapse, wasn't herself. She told Amy she was being poisoned.
Amy guess was from May too.
A nasty business.
By the way, Major, who's the doctor that treated your wife?
Why, that young snapper, Dr. Thomas.
Ha! Well, that was a breeze. Last ball was definitely out.
Was halfway to chipping Norton.
So, what did you say? What did you say?
I don't think so. Chalk flew, didn't it, Gordon?
Yeah, it's like a bird.
Like a dead bird.
Dr. Thomas treated Mrs. Horton. She was his first victim.
The one that Miss Pinkerton wasn't sure of.
She told people she was being poisoned, and Amy was her maid. She must have known too much, so he killed her too. Dr. Thomas had opportunity and means to kill Amy. Gave Carter and Tommy codeine linctors like Amy, and he was out of the village on Derby Day. Where is the good doctor?
With a patient?
Or murdering one?
The thing is, Mrs. Horton wasn't from Ashbottom. Which means the next victim
Could be anyone. Miss Conway.
Hmm?
Bridget, why are you marrying that man?
Do you know what a secretary earns? Of course you don't. Well, pennies compared to Lady Whitfield.
Very different duties.
Really? Doubt Gordon will even kiss me goodnight after a year. Why do you care? He'll be in Whitehall.
Because it's not what you deserve. This is not...
What? Love. Have you tried it? Loving until it hurts. Only to be jilted for some millionaire widow. A broken engagement is the perfect cure for dangerously romantic tosh. I simply want to be safe, not just from being poor. From feelings.
Fitzwilliam, you're up next with the doctor.
Knees better then, Fitzwilliam?
Yes. Thank you. Only I cannot stop thinking about your theory, Doctor.
Not a theory. Science.
Tommy, Carter, Amy.
So who's next? For judicious elimination. Degenerates. Was that the word you used?
Humblebee. Listen, these pagan rites that Fitzwilliam and my Bridget are busy uncovering, I want them stopped.
So who's next, Doctor? One of the lower races? Me?
Well, Scripture instructs us to rebuke those who persist in sin.
He who casts the first stone?
Mrs. Humblebee?
As Witchwood's leading citizen.
Rose?
God has more to worry about it.
So, who's it going to be, Doctor?
Ian Witchwood. Oh.
Arthur?
Which one?
Arthur!
Perhaps you might happen to know what time Scotland Yard closes. You see, I have to report murder.
She was talking of murder. Murders in her village. She said he'd kill again, and now she's dead.
I live in Witchwood, so there's precious little to challenge my powers of observation. Until you arrived.
I think you'll find you're in the wrong place, sir. His lordship and the other guests will be inside the house.
Oh, Whitfield.
This is a new town, carrying my name.
Bridget, why are you marrying that man? You keep these in stock.
Just a codeine linked us. Why, I want some.
My deepest condolences, Miss Rose, Mrs. Humblebee. I wondered if we might speak.
Why don't you accompany us? We're meeting Dr. Thomas at the surgery to discuss the autopsy.
You see, since coming to Witchwood, I've been struck by the number of accidents.
That Dr. Thomas attended every victim.
Victim?
I gather you're very fond of Dr. Thomas, Rose.
And he has feelings for you too.
But your father never would have allowed the marriage. And if he knew of the doctor's scientific interests...
Where did you find us?
He keeps them here, not on display.
And who planted the idea of murder in your mind, Mr. Fitzwilliam?
Miss Pinkerton.
You met Lavinia? Before she died?
Before she was murdered. Mrs. Humblebee, have you considered your husband's medication may have been tampered with?
Tampered with by who? Why should we believe a single word you say?
Rose? Fitzwilliam, what on earth is going on here?
Simply discussing the likelihood of you having poisoned my father.
Poison? With what? Penicillin?
It couldn't have been the medication, Mr. Fitzwilliam. My husband's distrust of Dr. Thomas meant he never took the penicillin.
That's not all. The things he said, none of them true.
Are they?
Rose, stop!
Are they here then? Where? Where are they?
Rose. Rose, I don't think of you like... This is your research, is it? Worming your way into respectable women's homes and perverting their minds.
Just because it wasn't the penicillin doesn't mean it wasn't murder. If Lavinia felt something was amiss, you must keep looking.
Nothing suspicious, but obviously we're taking the vicar's sad death very seriously.
Nothing suspicious. 1 minute he was playing tennis, the next he was frothing at the mouth. Poisoned.
Look, I'm here to assure you everything is being properly dealt with.
Well, what about the rest?
The rest of what?
Of us. Harry Carter, Tommy Pierce, or were they properly dealt with?
Ruled as accidents by the coroner. The law's the law, Rivers, old chap.
And why no autopsy for our Amy?
A waste of public funds. The cause of death was plain, unless you want
What's
to pay for
plain is that when one of us dies, it's an accident. But when it's one of you, there's a proper investigation. That's how you do the law around here, Doctor. Old chap.
I resent your insinuation, Rivers. I'll be speaking to Lord Whitfield.
I'm not insinuating, OK? I'm stating facts.
And you can tell Lord Whitfield what you like. Tell him to open up his money bags and fix up Ashbottom for starters.
Because his tenants are living in a slum.
Yeah.
I spilt blood for this country, and that makes me any man's equal. This place, rotten to the core.
I owe you an apology, Miss Conway. I expressed opinions that, however strongly I might feel them.
Quite. Perhaps if we confine our strong feelings to exposing the murderer.
Of course.
Gordon and I we're throwing a party this afternoon.
Throwing a party?
An engagement party. So we better hurry.
It wasn't a medication. But who else would kill Reverend Humbleby?
Well, let's start at the beginning. Miss Pinkerton said the murderer was...
A respectable man with a point to make, yes, but who respects a doctor? Not the Humblebys. No one in Ashbottom.
Dr. Thomas could be as disreputable as Bluebeard. He'd still be a respectable man in Witchwood.
It's becoming quite clear to me how power works here. And I don't have it. 6 dead. 6.
Are you feeling all right? You don't have to say anything. But Dr. Freud is ready for you now, should you care to explain.
Ever since I came to England, I keep having these dreams.
But I'm lost in this forest. And I'm losing something.
So this Ikenga is part of you.
It's passed off my right hand.
It was given to me when I came of age.
It's your potential to succeed. The power to direct your own fate.
But it's part of something greater than you alone.
Fail to honor it, and you're lost. To yourself, to your people. Lost to home.
Should I even be here, working for Whitehall, leaving others to work for independence back home?
Seems you are a little lost in the forest, Luke Obiako Fitzwilliam. Welcome to my woods. I've been here a while. Maybe not happy ever after, but content, I thought. And now I don't know anymore.
You see what happens when you speak up? Don't try and tell me that fell off a tree and bashed out his brains. What, another accident?
Good chap. All right. All dealt with. Told him keep it under his hat. No fuss.
I don't think you can do that, sir.
I think you'll find he'll do as he's told. Especially if it's me that's doing the telling.
My path's always been smoothed by Providence.
Right. Lots to do before the party.
You coming, Fitz? Half of London will be there, won't they, Bridget? The right half.
Miss Pinkerton was right. That idiot constable ruled out murder before he'd even seen Rivers' body.
Humbleby. Now Rivers. Barely fine chaps, both of them. Speaking their minds, speaking up for others. And you say Pinky set you on the trail. You've been investigating all along?
It became clear to me that these deaths were murders.
Did Pinky have a theory about Lydia?
She wasn't entirely sure.
But you are, I see. Still, you have no proof.
The car that hit and killed Miss Pinkerton got away so fast I never even caught a glimpse. Seems half the village was out of town on Derby Day.
If the car belongs to someone in Wedgwood, if I knew the registration...
Leave it with me. Still know a few old-timers at Scotland Yard who'll do me a favor.
These dreadful rumours. A party? Ill-advised, perhaps. So unlike Lord Whitfield. His religion, his sense of what's right, is what first struck me about him all those years ago.
Miss Wainfleet, you say you knew Lord Whitfield as a boy?
As a young man, yes, before the war. Before the big house and the Rolls Royce, all of it. I should take this in.
More bubbles over here. Some Dom Perry.
Gordon likes to collect nice things.
Not really his nice things, though, are they? Still, seems to care more for them than he did his own chauffeur.
Look, I've been thinking about what Mrs. Pierce said.
See what comes from speaking out. Rivers, Reverend Humbleby at dinner, Tommy, all of them spoke out against respectable men.
Are you suggesting that Gordon...
Why? Do you think he might...
What I think is that Gordon is as incapable of physically hurting another human being as I am. And that calling him a murderer under his own roof is unforgivable.
I didn't offer sympathies for Rivers. Seemed a good man.
He was.
You said he was murdered for speaking out.
Think I would end up the same way? Talk costs lives. Powerful men decide. Women like us survive.
Back home, if some chief, judge, or official abused his power, women arrived in gangs, and they had ways to set him right.
There's a few men in Witchwood who could do with that kind of lesson.
Rose? See? I'm wearing the scarf you gave me. Because Rose, I insist you let me explain.
Mr. Fitzwilliam, we've saved you a seat. Do sit.
Do you mind, Doctor? You're rather spoiling the view.
I heard about Rivers. Coming so soon after Father. It's terrifying. You know Rivers didn't see eye to eye with the doctor either.
Rose, about what happened?
I may have misjudged you earlier, Mr. Fitzwilliam. Your suspicions. Father always said the doctor wasn't fit to serve on the new town board. Said he was capable of doing anything to get what he wants. Perhaps with the doctor occupied here, now is the chance to find out what.
Dr. Thomas, he never truly deserved you.
When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me, make me sway. Like the lazy ocean hugs the shore, hold me close, sway me more. Like a flower bending in the breeze, bend with me, sway with ease. When we dance, you have a way with me, stay with me, sway with me.
I have a confession to make.
It's okay. I don't think anyone's there.
I need to confess. I can't marry Gordon. Was that him? What did you find? It's the Whitfield Newtown account. But someone's forged Gordon's signature.
These are all my payables, Dr. Thomas. God, it's a small fortune. That's embezzlement. If Mrs. Horton and Reverend Humbleby had caused...
We should go back and tell him what we know. And face it. All. So, the doctor had been stealing money from the Newtown account. Perhaps the victims found out. Mrs. Horton and the vicar might have, even Amy. But the others, it just doesn't seem...
Bridget. Bridget, come here.
What's that? Where was it?
In Rivers' blood.
Heel of a shoe.
Not many people do, you know. Listen,
Right foot, I think.
the murderer has a point to make.
A sensible, respectable...
Respectable person.
Person. A respectable person. Miss Pinkerton never said a man.
A woman? A woman's shoe? You don't mean... the murderer? No, women don't kill like that over and over and over.
It's right here, Bridget. Right where Rivers died. Are you saying it's not connected?
Women lose gloves, heels, earrings every time we leave the house. It's hardly proof of the ability to exterminate half a dozen souls.
Bridget, a respectable woman. Who drives? Who can drive, Bridget?
Me, obviously.
Yes? Miss Wainfleet?
No. No, and she can't afford a car. Mrs. Humbleby? Rose? What possible motive could any of them have?
This must be a trial for you both. So much to do. After a bereavement,
Mother, I'm tired. Perhaps...
Where did you meet your husband, Mrs. Humbleby?
In India. He was stationed there before independence, of course. An army chaplain. His commanding officers were dead set against our marriage. But we were in love.
And so to England, to Witchwood.
Major Horden helped you both settle, I believe. And Mrs. Horden must have been a good friend of your husband's, too.
The board must have thrown them together a great deal. Shared interests.
Do you drive, Mrs. Humbleby? Did you go with your husband to the Derby? Or...
Come, Rose. I'm called suddenly. My God, you didn't just accuse them, did you?
Bridget, I've been looking for you.
Gordon, I think that we should...
Here's my Bridget. Bridget. It's time for your surprise. Platinum set. Flawless. Just like you, Bridget. God's rewards.
Call an ambulance. Call the police. But not that idiot Reed, a detective. Now. It was a Rolls Royce that killed Pinky. That's all they told me.
Did you see the sores on his neck? Under the scarf? Maybe some kind of poison.
Bridget, do you think Lord Whitfield... Do you think he might be trying to frame you?
I told you Gordon would never do anything to hurt me. Or anyone.
The murderer has a point to make and will keep killing until it's made.
This is a new town carrying my name.
I think you'll find he'll do as he's told. Especially if it's me that's doing the telling.
Drunk, and it costed me my own estate, didn't it, Bridget?
It's the man.
Can I help you?
D.S. Bull, officer in charge of these investigations. I've just come from the manor.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
It's rather busy. up there just now. What, with 2 deaths in one day and all?
I'm aware, sir. I was there.
And at the scene of the vicar's sad demise. And, oh yes, Amy Gibbs.
What about Tommy Pierce and Harry Carter? Or was it even in England?
Accident. Coroner's ruled on them. So, you came here to research...
Augustus. Nellie, at ease. What news of my wife, Detective?
My concern is this gentleman. I'm confining him to his room.
House arrest. Under what statute? As a subject of the Queen, he's as free to come and go as I. Fitz, with me. Sick to the back teeth of bully boys in uniform, bossing people around, or worse. That's why Lydia and I got out of the whole dirty game. Empire. What's your next move, Fitz?
I need to get to the manor. I have some questions for Lord Whitfield.
I see. Look sharp and finish this. She's a bit sticky in second.
Fitzwilliam! Breakfast? Eggs and kidneys.
The Lord knows my heart is pure, so... But please hold no terrors for me. No. What worries me at times like this is folks getting too familiar. Fitz. For instance, why are you here? Is it more of your fairy tale research? Because I'm beginning to wonder if you aren't researching Miss Conway. Oh. Did I spoil your little plan?
Plan? Believe me, sir, which would have secured me of my plans.
I'm a man of God, Mr. Fitzwilliam. And God has made me a friends close, enemies closer kind of chap. I've always been a upright man and beholden to no one. I stand alone. God, and my own hard work, did not raise me from Ash Bottom to be cast down by someone like you. Or Rivers.
Ash Bottom? Your people, sir, your home. That must mean something. Ash Bottom made you the man you are.
I made myself. Me and God. I put my faith in Providence, not people. I know what they say about me. Those envious dust grovelers. What Rivers said at the meeting. And look what happened to him.
What did happen to him, sir?
Just as the patriarchs prospered, their enemies smitten, he was struck down by divine wrath. Tell me, Fitz, do you recall how the bears devoured the children who mocked the prophet Elisha?
The children? Yes, I recall.
Elisha was a great man. The Lord wouldn't suffer anyone to mock him and live. Oh, no.
Oh, mock you? Like Tommy Pierce?
In my own home. Yeah, after Carter abused me and died, or when Mrs. Horton, vile woman, thwarted me at the board, I couldn't be sure. But after Tommy, and then Amy sassing me back. There was no denying it. I've done right by my creator, and my creator has done right by me. Simply put, my enemies are always exterminated.
Like Reverend Humblebee.
Exactly. You heard how he insulted me. He refused to see.
I stand for righteousness, and God stands with me.
So you could say, you know who's going to die.
It's out of my control. I'm just giving you a friendly warning. Anyone who crosses me, even someone I'm fond of, like Bridget.
Oh. What a find for my collection. Well done, Miss Wainfleet.
Now there is a woman I can truly respect. Capable and a lady. Rare. You know, it's hard to imagine now, but she was handsome in her day. Independent, clever. She was off to Cambridge, you know. I do sometimes wonder what she thinks of me now, since we
Her admiration is very clear, my lord. Just one last thing. How exactly is this divine justice accomplished?
Well, that's up to God, isn't it?
Bridget.
What was that? Exterminated? And all that about Miss Wainfleet? What does he mean? Perhaps if I ask her to explain.
He tried to frame you, Bridget. He put those shoes in the boot of the car, and now he's ready to kill you.
Kill? Gordon? It just doesn't
He
seem...
admitted every single death was divine justice for insulting him.
A respectable person.
A point to make. Rolls in London on Derby Day. I have to get you out of here.
The Isbul is never going to denounce the most powerful man in Witchwood. He wants to arrest me.
Scotland Yard. Like Miss Pinkerton said. Catch the London Express
Scotland
and then...
Yard might have believed Miss Pinkerton, but an African man invading respectable homes, it takes power to destroy power, Bridget. And we have none.
I've got an idea. I know what to do. I know who can do it.
Right. Leave this to me. Ladies, we need your help.
Thought I made myself clear, Fitzwilliam?
Yes, my lord. Just one more thing.
A religious matter, actually.
I wanted to know. Elisha and the Bear. Which book is that?
Kings. And it was 2 bears.
2? And how many boys did they devour?
42. But I'm no prophet. Tommy Pierce's death was enough for me.
Sorry, sir. I didn't quite catch that.
I said Tommy's death satisfied me. But then there was Rivers, the upstart, and Carter. That wanton Amy with the red hair.
You murdered our Amy. Stop it! Stop it! Stop this! Or I will...
What? Kill us? You murdering sod!
Dear Spool, you're right on time. Arrest this man. He's confessed to 6 murders before these witnesses. I wouldn't release him if I were you.
What? Oh, right.
He's a homicidal maniac.
Did you put these mad women up to this?
A Rolls Royce knocked down Miss Lavinia Pinkerton on Derby Day. Call Scotland Yard, ask them for the registration. Do it!
I hope you don't mind if I ask you a rather personal question.
I'll answer as honestly as I can.
I've been wondering, your friendship with Gordon. Who ended it, and why?
I had a canary. He asked me if I loved it more than him. He wrung its neck. But it was the look on his face.
I see.
FAS 922. Isn't that?
So that's the reg of my rolls.
Apparently a witness reported it at the scene. No one followed it up.
Major Horton.
Fitz. So it was him? He did it?
Hold on.
Did you know all along that Gordon was the murderer?
I'd suspected it. But he's a lord. Who would believe me?
With the rich and mighty, all we have is patience. Lavinia was the only one who knew, and see where that got her.
A letter from Miss Conway, sir.
Bridget didn't write this. Where is it? Lord Whitfield, where's the knife?
Miss Wainfleet took it home for a cleanup.
Here. Real Lapsang Souchong. What if the police don't arrest him? He'll come for you next. He's quite mad. Broadmoor and straitjacket mad, no?
Oh. Algernon's ear really is quite gruesome. Do they not do penicillin for cats?
Lord Whitfield, you said Miss Wainfleet was a woman you can truly respect. You wonder what she thought of you since you... Since you what?
Go on, Gordy. Tell him what you did.
You see, Gordon was employed by Miss Wainfleet's father here at the manor.
walk before supper to wake us up.
Oppressively warm, isn't it?
A lean white woman who nobody loves.
What's that, dear? Sleepy? Lapsang has that effect on some people.
I'm not a cliche, you know. A woman scorned, jealous of you and Gordon. I was headed for Cambridge. A scholarship I daren't tell my family. All I wanted was independence.
She was a friend, and she trusted me. So she told me her secret. She'd run away to Cambridge. My father said if I didn't tell him where she'd gone, he was going to sack us all. He was going to throw us off the estate. So I had no choice. I told him.
I was unpacking my books when my father came for me. Gordon had betrayed me, you see, securing himself a step up the ladder. But for me, that was the end of it.
They locked her up like a prisoner. A cage. Broke a little heart. Crushed it. Just like she crushed that little bird with her hands.
Gordon Whitfield, bootmaker's son, made his fortune, bought Ash Manor, my home. He took my beautiful life, turned me into a pathetic nothing. But I never showed my feelings. Well, it's how we girls were raised, isn't it, Bridget? It's in our breeding. Show nothing, no matter what. But I needed him to suffer for it. And that's when it came to me. I'd make him the murderer. Kill anyone who crossed him so that he would be the one accused, humiliated, locked up. He'd be punished for my crimes.
Extraordinary.
Easy.
Miss Wainfleet.
Fitz, she has Bridget.
So here we are. Gordon will be joining us soon.
Nothing. All my life I was nothing.
Bridget!
Bridget.
Oh, I see. I suppose this is where you tell me how you always knew it was me. For your vanity, or mine.
But I didn't. I thought it was Lord Whitfield, just like you wanted.
I knew Gordon would tell everyone the deaths were Providence, smoothing his path.
Exterminated by Griffin Humbleby.
But I had to kill the vicar twice, for you to notice.
The iodine on the dressing, infected from the cat.
You poisoned Reverend Humblebee's drink at tennis, didn't you? What with?
It's
Strychnine. Rat poison. Everyone knew he and Whitfield had been at loggerheads over the new town.
It's pure vanity!
You were in the library at Ash Manor when you saw Tommy ridiculing Lord Whitfield on the balcony. You targeted those who had slighted Lord Whitfield. You saw Carter, drunk at the sluices channel. Then you opened the levers, swept him away in the current.
I didn't push him. It was luck.
The scratches round the keyhole. You open Amy's door from the outside and swap the bottles.
Detective novels, so educational.
Dr. Thomas.
Hemlock, I presume. You grow it in your garden? I recall its distinctive smell. It was you in the surgery, planting evidence that would give cause for Lord Whitfield to seek revenge.
Just a little something to steer you in the right direction.
But no one's infallible. Not even you. Like your mishap killing Rivers after his outburst at the inquest. You were interrupted. Leaving a broken shoe heel.
Which I covered very creatively, planting it in Lord Whitfield's car.
Lydia Horton. Strychnine again.
No, arsenic.
She said the tea Gordon had sent her tasted odd. But did anyone listen?
Derby Day. You follow Miss Pinkerton to London. The driver didn't kill Miss Pinkerton. You pushed her.
But the driver didn't stop. Why would he? Just an old woman.
So you gave the police Lord Whitfield's registration number and disappeared into the crowd. But the police disregarded the testimony of a woman. And today you took the knife covered in Lord Whitfield's fingerprints, as if it was sent from Bridget, to lead him to her murder. Which of course would have removed all doubt.
None of which would have been necessary if anyone...
Notice your clues. Perhaps you're just too clever.
I had my moments. The entire village at my mercy, never knowing where I'd strike next. Me, who they'd all treated as if I had forever been this dour, pointless old maid. It is galling that not a single one of them pointed the finger at Gordon. Perhaps no one listens to old women. Perhaps we're invisible.
Not to me. Just unheard, unseen. A respectable person disrespected in a place where murder is easy.
I wish you all the best, my clever Bridget. Capable and a lady. Too good for me, probably.
It's very gentlemanly of you, Gordon.
Well, murderer. Me. I don't even hunt.
dangerously emotional.
Romantic tosh.
Did you give Mrs. Pierce Miss Pinkerton's Derby money? Good. They'll know what best to do with it. For Ashbottom.
So what will you do, Mr. Obiako?
I should be in Nigeria. For independence.
They must miss you. I know I will.
If I stayed here,
You'd be lost. In the woods.
and you, Bridget, what will you do? Where will you go?
Frankly, I don't give a damn. Maybe I'll travel. Maybe I'll turn detective. It's 1954. A woman can do whatever she likes. That's my theory anyway, and I intend to test it. Thoroughly.
Do watch out for water wheels, Fitz.
And forests. Old ladies on trains, telling tall stories.
Should I encounter any of those, I'll be in touch.
Bridget Conway.
Whatever happens now, someone else knows the truth. Someone I can trust. Can't I?
Yes.